Hello, I'm Gerald Davis. You know, I've talked at times about getting out of debt supernaturally. I'm talking about getting out of debt just like you got saved. You didn't deserve it. You didn't do anything as far as merit was concerned. God did miracles and got you out of debt. That's the way I got out. And I haven't had to borrow money now since 1987. How God does these things, I decided just not my business to know. It's just my business to believe Him and trust Him. So I also learned during the time that I was teaching and preaching these things in churches across the nation that it's one thing to get out of debt supernaturally. It's quite another thing to stay out. How do I live a lifestyle so that I don't have to borrow other people's money? I don't have to pay that kind of interest and live in that category. You know, Solomon said the rich rule over the poor, the borrower is servant to the lender. So God's choice for us, for His people, His dream for us is that we lend and not borrow. Nobody attests that or struggles with hearing me say that. The question is, how do we get this to happen? So I wrote a book that has to do with staying out of debt. And it's titled, My Good, G-O-O-D, Get Out of Debt, Bible Companion. I encourage people to have a copy of this and put it in their Bible cover. Keep it with their Bible all the time. Refer to it constantly because it talks to you directly about the things that will help you maintain a debt lifestyle. Now, God will do His part if He can get us to do our part. So this little book reaches out to talk about the things that I have learned that will help people. It has helped me stay out of debt. And I haven't had to borrow money since 1987. And it has helped other people, many thousands of people. And churches all over the land that I've spoken in have gotten out of debt because of these principles. Let me read the chapter titles to you. There are 12. Chapter 1, Why I Teach Financial Prosperity. You probably noticed, as I have, nearly anything you do in this world requires an exchange of money. We must have money to get God's work done. That's the number one work in the world. And the second chapter is, and I think this is probably the most helpful message God ever gave to me, and it has been to others, titled The 5 Levels of Godly Scriptural Prosperity. And then one chapter titled The Blessing Zone. Living in the blessing zone can be equated to either living in Hawaii, where the beautiful trees and fruit and fish are abundant, or living in the Serengeti plains where the wild animals seek to eat and devour everything that they can. Living in one zone or the other makes a big difference in how you prosper. If you are in debt, you can view yourself living in the Serengeti. If you're out of debt and above the borrowing lifestyle, it's the life financially, spiritually, of living in Hawaii. And then there's a chapter titled The High Places. Why did they create the high places? What did it mean? Solomon, even though he got his wisdom from God, sacrificed in the high places. And there are many interesting thoughts concerning this chapter and how it deals with our financial mentality and the way we function. And then one titled Debt and the Fear Factor. Fear is a result of being under instead of over, beneath instead of above. under control instead of in control. And then one titled, What It Means to Be a Lender. And it isn't just lending money to people, but Jesus referred to a giver as a lender. I'll show you scripture for that. And then one chapter title, Stand Up and Be a Reaper. Ruth stood up and reaped among the sheaves instead of just on her knees crawling and picking up the scraps. And then one titled Debts, or a location, a place in here for you to list the debts that you owe. Write them all down and prepare yourself to give God a place to work. And then there's a record of my seed sown. Sow your money, keep track of what you've done, and sow your seed with getting out of debt in mind. And then there's a chapter in here of my testimonies of miracle provisions by the hand of God. My debt-free goal amount, and you need to write that down, and write down the stories every time something happens. Encourage yourself toward this goal. Somebody said, well, I don't want to shoot so high I miss it. Like one person said, I'd rather shoot high and miss it a little bit than shoot too low and hit it. So let's shoot high. I want you to get a copy of this, my good Get Out of Debt Bible Companion. God bless you.